Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So you're kind of a legend, Ashley.
Oh no, I'm not.
You don't know it, but you are.
Why do you think that?
I feel like in the photography world, you're kind of famous.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't think so. I'm just an average Joe.
Well, you're above average in the photography field, right? I know you have to be humble, but I'm not gonna be humble for you. When did you start?
Are we starting?
It's recording.
Is recording okay? Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Would headphones be better or is this good?
This is fine.
Okay. Um, so my journey started in probably mid 2016 and I shot my first wedding in 2017 and I went full time in May of 2019.
How was the process for you?
Not easy. I feel like I started when there was that transition period of, especially where I'm from, small town, not a ton of photographers. Um, Now everybody is so helpful and so nice. Everywhere that I've gone, everybody seems to be pretty open to helping photographers out. And when I first started, I feel like those resources were actually not as easily accessible to me. I feel like I didn't have like mentors that I could reach out to when I first started. Whereas I feel in the last few years, the community I feel has grown substantially, but also the whole community over competition is huge. And I can't speak for everybody, but the photography community that I surround myself with, we are pretty big on, building community over competing together. Where's my alcoholic beverage?
Go get one.
I need to get some wine.
Are you a wine drinker?
Not normally. I normally am like a vodka or a Jameson and pickleback shot. But
Oh, wow.
wine is all I've got right now. So I might have to grab some here in a little bit.
I haven't drank wine in a while, but we have the Deer Creek Winery here in
My
Clarion.
mom used to work for one of those.
Really?
Yeah, I'm super familiar with all of their wine. I literally would get that as a gift every holiday for the last like 5 years.
I'm not like a big wine person, but I'll drink a bottle if I have to.
See, I used to really like wine to the point where I was able to transition into reds and like
Yeah,
semi dry, but I stopped and now I'm back at Moscato. I'm back at the beginning. I got to start all over.
I like white wine.
I like white sweet wine. I like red dry wine. I also like red sweet wine, but I cannot do white sweet or white dry. It's not good.
It just needs to taste good for me. I like sweeter things, so
Yeah, no, definitely.
like I drink
Moscato, I've had it.
seltzer. Look at this shit.
I know. What is that? Is that a like blackberry lime?
Yeah, Corona seltzer.
Nice.
It's not the best. I don't really like it, but it's what I had, so whatever.
Yeah, I'm not like a big White Claw fan. How like everybody's seltzers are also a huge thing right now. Like every like beer company is creating their own version of a seltzer. Like Corona seltzer, what? Bud Weiser seltzer.
Those two suck. This one, I was gifted a case, so I was like, whatever, I'll drink them. But I don't know. I like the Trulies. I like White Claws, and I like IPAs also. So like, I'm like,
Hold on one second. My cat is knocking stuff over. Yeah, it's a struggle, but hold on.
cat mom.
Okay. I figured while I was disciplining him, I might as well grab mine.
Yeah, I have 30. You're my 33rd episode. I would say 95% of these episodes I've either drank before or during.
Really?
Talking's gotten easier for me, but it used to be hard for me. When I started out, I had like these people who were more. I don't know. I get nervous talking to people I never met. I used to, so then I had to drink before. I'm cool now, but I made a car sale today, so I was like, why not celebrate?
Oh, is that what you do for like an actual living? Is that your full-time job?
I sell cars.
I feel like car salesmen can talk better than anybody.
Yeah. You see, all right. So, well, now I'm better. I started this podcast last summer, so I
Okay, I was like, even realtors and car salesmen, like they get you. I could never be in sales, so I commend you.
I'm like half shy, half not shy. I'm like that weird person where I can either be really outgoing or I'm just like in the corner not talking.
That's me. That's literally how I am. I consider myself to be. Oh my gosh, my cat won't stop eating my flowers. Hold on. Turbo, I'm gonna kill him. Enough. Is this podcast PG or can I swear? Because this is my
You can swear.
shithead. Enough. Stop eating on my flowers. Enough. He knows he's wrong. But yeah, I depending on who I'm talking to, depending on what we're talking about,
Right.
I tell people I'm an introvert through and through. But if it's like photography related or like something I'm super passionate about, I could be open. Or if it's like a one-on-one conversation. Now, if we were in a room full of 10 people and I didn't know anybody but one person and that person was talking to other people, I also would like try to distract myself with my phone or feel like I don't like belong and try to figure out an escape route without looking like an idiot trying to walk away.
That's how I am. I drove out to Pittsburgh last weekend and I went out with my buddy. We were at the breweries first getting drinks, whatever. And Pittsburgh is so expensive.
Pittsburgh?
I bought one drink that was like $13. It was like this. I was like, whatever. But moving on. But we went out with his friends later on to like some more party bars. For some reason, I was just quiet. I don't know. My body just didn't want to talk. It was just like, you're not
Yeah,
talking.
that's me sometimes. Like I went to a workshop. I went to a bunch of workshops this year, but like one in particular, I had gone by myself and I did not want to go. I was so afraid to not know anybody. And even though photography workshops are my wheelhouse, still when there's like a bunch of them, like a bunch of like photographers at these workshops, I'm super intimidated.
Even when
So,
I'm sure you run some workshops, don't you?
hmm?
Are you, you've been in charge of workshops, right?
I hosted a content day back in January and I'm in the works of I've already launched my workshop, but it's been a struggle. I we have an Instagram page and there's 3 of us that are part of it, but actually launching a date hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely do want to start transitioning more to education and like mentoring other photographers. I don't know. I feel like I am a good, I don't want to say hype girl. I'm just good at like building people up and like helping them. And I love helping other people, especially in the photography industry, get to that next level or like reach that next goal. So that's what I want to do. It's really hard to turn down work and to not be, so busy that I can't focus on that stuff. So it's been a little bit of a struggle. Trying to be more disciplined in setting goals per month of what I actually book so that I have more free time. But once I meet that quota, if I get another inquiry, it's hard to say no. So we'll see how that goes this year.
Yeah, it's important that you want to teach because knowledge is just it's the most important thing. There's nothing above knowledge, I don't think.
Oh my gosh. I think I went to school and although like my degree doesn't technically like matter in my field, I tell people it is so important to constantly be learning, constantly opening yourself up to different opportunities to learn things. Whether you already think that you're really good at it, if you can push yourself further in that specific thing, or even just like new things that you might not necessarily think that you care to learn, like building those. I want to be well-rounded in a specific niche. I think that is kind of important to be good at a lot of things in like a particular field. So I want to be like an expertise photographer. I have a videography degree, don't necessarily like care to dive into that, but people who can do both, like more power to them. That's so hard for me to wrap my mind around doing a video for a wedding day. But there's so many like things that you can learn like constantly. Like we're in technology, you know what I mean? Everything is constantly transforming and getting better. And I don't know, I just think even the techniques, you have to be kind of, willing to be open-minded to the new trends and all that good stuff. I shot with a plastic baggie the other day and saran wrap, and it was the coolest thing I've ever done. And I wouldn't have done that 5 years ago. People would have thought I was crazy.
Yeah, adjusting to the newer generations. You said when you first started, you didn't have any mentors. You think it was because of your age, like older people didn't want to take you serious? I know a lot of photographers have told me that's been a problem with them.
I just feel like, so in 2016, I feel like that was a time where we were kind of transitioning from the old and like, coming into like what's super trendy. I mean, yeah, obviously like social media has been around for a really long time, but I feel like when I started photography, there wasn't as many photographers as there is now. Like now they are everywhere. There are so many. And again, being from a small town, but being on the outskirts of, multiple big cities, I feel like there wasn't a ton of people that I could reach out to. I just feel like, not that I was so like secluded in my small town bubble that I didn't know who they were. I just feel like there really weren't that many, and now I feel everybody on social media, you could so easily find a photographer, and they're coming every day. Every day there's new ones. So I don't know. I feel like I don't want to say that there was older people that were doing photography when I first started, because I was 2016, I don't even know how old I was, 25 or something, 25. So I was in that, age group where like, I mean, how old are you?
I'm 23.
You're 23, okay. So yeah, I mean, there are a lot of younger photographers now, a lot of the girls. I went to a workshop and I was the oldest person there. I was so offended.
How old are you?
28.
Oh, you're still young.
But I mean, yeah, it's crazy because there are so many successful photographers and they're like 21 and 22, and I was like thinking, when I learned, about their ages and saw their portfolios, I wasn't even doing photography at that age. So it's crazy.
It's with everything. Like even with I don't know if you follow sports, but with sports, it seems like younger people are just getting really good at a young age, and people are starting to notice it. And it's because they're focusing on that one thing.
I was talking to somebody today, and we were talking about, because I was showing some of my like high school photos, and we were talking about people in high school, like how they're like hotter than I am at 28. So I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what's going on. Like 20 or 30 used to be the new 20, but now I feel like 18 is the new like 25. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because, social media, not Instagram, just social media makes it so much more accessible, to kind of pick up a skill. And if you're disciplined enough, teach yourself and learn it, and then kind of go out there and do it full force.
There's so much knowledge out there. I mean, you can even go on YouTube and pretty much learn anything you want.
I know there's so many resources to being able to learn everything. And honestly, like the only excuse you can make is just being too lazy to actually teach yourself. If, you know,
Honestly,
you
yeah.
can
'Cause, like,
literally pick up anything.
say if like you were someone's favorite photographer, they could just follow you on social media and like get inspiration from you. You should start a YouTube channel.
Actually, I wanted to start a podcast one day, but
You
like,
should.
It's a lot of work. I don't know how to. I have always wanted to do like an in-person one with like a YouTube video attached to it. So there was a visual element and the audio element. And this is an excuse because I could YouTube it right now, but I don't know like what equipment to buy.
Yeah, so I'm ready to do in person, right? But it's just like so many of my guests can't, and like I want consistency. So like I don't know, I'm just waiting. It is COVID. I mean, I again another bullshit excuse, but
No, I get it.
and I want
Do
the
you
I want the I want the two camera setup. I don't have two cameras. I should probably just buy another one that can shoot 1080p, but I started doing it with the one camera, but I feel like they're just looking at too much. I want them to be focused on the person.
I watched a podcast. My ex was on one back in like the fall, and I watched it during that time when we were together. And I think they had a 3-camera setup. And the way that they did it on YouTube, it was on Spotify as well, and probably other like things. I don't have Apple Music or anything like that. But they just would cut, the video so that there would be like that wide angle, and then like the video camera that was facing him and the video camera that was facing the podcast host. There was 2 of them, and it was really like cool, and it probably intimidated me, because I don't want to start with one camera and a microphone. I want to do the whole shebang right off the bat. So because I have that mindset, I'm never going to start.
What podcast was it that he was on?
I don't remember. I'll have to figure it. I mean, it's on Instagram, so I can send it to you and stuff. It's based out of Reno, Nevada. That's where like he lived and everything. So the 2 podcasters are also, I think, photographers out of Nevada. So they would talk to, different videographers and photographers. I don't know like how like far their, niche was in terms of who they interviewed, but I watched a few of them and they were pretty good.
I prefer in person, but I was like, I need consistency. People are liking this for now. I don't know. In person, like when you're sitting across from someone, it's so much better.
Yeah. No, I feel like it is, especially like if you want to have the flow of the conversation, to go well. I think that it is a little bit easier. Also, too, you can kind of build that rapport before the video cameras are actually on, whether it's like 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes before you start. Do you have an episode that comes out once a week? Is that why you're doing it online? Because you want to have one come out every week, the same time?
I don't really have a schedule. I just kind of go with it.
I mean, hey, if that's like
schedule kind of guy. I'm just like, okay, I have a guest. I guess this will be released tomorrow morning, or sometime in the morning. I don't release it late at night. I don't know. I'm not a schedule. I can't be too organized or I go crazy.
I get that. Absolutely. See, I'm kind of the opposite. I like to have a specific like schedule, and then within that schedule, it's like a lot of stuff. And if I don't get to it, I'll just move it to like the next day kind of thing. That way I'm giving myself structure, but not too much pressure if I don't get things done, because sometimes I'm just tired too.
That's how I feel. Like there's still structure. I'm not just like, just bullshitting my way through life. But
there's like, hey, if you are, no judgment here. We're kind of all doing it.
Yeah, in a way, honestly. But like, I'll like schedule something, but like, I don't like to be disappointed, right? So I never expect things to happen. And if you don't expect it to happen, you never get disappointed. So like I'll like schedule 2 things kind of, or like say if someone cancels on me, I like kind of sometimes have something else planned. It just depends, but I never make promises to like
people that listen and watch and stuff.
I'm weird, Ashley. I'm weird.
Hey, no judgment. I mean, at least you have a podcast. If it's sporadic and, looks like a heartbeat, that's better than me that hasn't even started yet. I'm flatlined, okay? So give yourself some credit.
Yeah, I used to like not be good at talking to people unless like we were at a party or something. I was like, it can't be like that. I need to be able to talk to people whenever. Especially now that I'm a salesman, I can't just be quiet.
Yeah, so like your podcast and stuff, like does it have like, is it more so conversational, or do you ask questions? Like, is it all photographers? Like what exactly? Now I've become the host because now I'm asking you stuff. See how I just flipped all that?
I like it. Take charge. Um, so I have anyone. I'm open to having anyone. Well, I mainly have athletes on. I love talking to athletes. Obviously, photographer. You're my first photographer, actually. So, congrats. Um, yeah,
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. My head's gonna get bigger than my screen.
your head should be big. You're a legend. You're not a legend yet, but you're big enough. You just don't know how big you are.
Trying.
But
I'm tired.
you should be humble. You're the photographer, but everyone else should have
Yeah.
been before you.
Have you
But
ever seen that video? It's a song, music video, and it's the guy who sings "Give Me Compliments." Do you know what I'm talking about?
no,
Okay, I'll send it to you. You need to watch it later. And that's like me to a T. Like I want the compliment, and then as soon as I get it, I'm like, no, 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 never mind. I can't accept this. So you need to watch that video. It's so funny, and it's who I am. It's like you want to hear those things, but at the same time, like, how do you accept them without feeling awkward? That's the introvert in me. I
yeah.
feel, it's like, no, no. You might be mistaking humbleness with like shy. Like I just don't want to believe you, but in reality, I'm like, keep feeding it to me. Come on.
I've been I've been like talking good about your photography for like 2 years now. I
Aww. I don't even know like what my stuff was like 2 years ago. That's
brag about
actually
you a lot.
what?
I brag about you to other photographers. I tell everybody to follow you.
Oh. Okay, so tell me about your photography journey.
So I was a wrestler here at Clarion. Then I stopped wrestling. I got really bored. I found my dad's old Nikon. Like it was an old one, like a $400 one. I just picked it up. I was like, all right, I'm bored now. I was like, what are these students complaining about? I have so much free time. But it's because all my free time was taken up with wrestling. It's like a 24-hour job. So boom, I pick up the camera and then I just start taking pictures and I'm like, I kind of like this. And
Yeah, that's
now I'm here.
awesome.
I think I've gotten better.
What's your favorite thing to photograph?
um, I would say I like doing grad shoots. I like doing weddings too. Weddings are fun. I would say there needs to be a subject in the picture. I think couples would be my favorite for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of my close photographer friends are really good at capturing like landscapes and stuff.
Mhm.
And when I travel, that's what they'll go off and disappear and like take photos. And I wish that I had that motivation because I would love to like take photos of saguaro cactuses and put them in my apartment, but I just don't see it the way that they do, and I just find it to be so boring. Like I'll take the photo and then I'll have literally zero like care to edit it. I like people. I like movement. Definitely, more wedding and love based. I would not ever like have the desire to like shoot nature or cars or sports or anything like that.
I like doing sports.
You like doing sports?
Well, not really. It depends because sometimes like I'll shoot wrestling matches, but like I'm like I'd rather be watching this right now. But it gets my foot in the door to get into events for free or whatever. So I'm like, sure, I'll do it. But
Okay, I'm gonna backtrack. The one thing that I would photograph because I tried to before COVID hit was like music shows because I wanted to get into them for free. So I was about to like embark on that journey during slow season when weddings aren't a thing around here. And I never done it before. I got photo passes to two different venues, one in Cleveland and one in Pittsburgh. And then COVID hit. I never was able to. But that's definitely something if I had free time and it was more of a passion project and not so much like a job. If it became my job, I would literally not do it. Because it's different, It's very fast paced and you get I think 15 minutes in the front of the crowd before they make you go to the back, and I love music and I'd probably want to enjoy it more than anything. So something that I would like to at least experiment with one day when shows come back. That's like the last thing with COVID that will return.
yeah,
But
I'm actually going to watch some live music this weekend. I'm gonna tell you where. It's like a winery slash brewery. You probably heard
Ooh,
of it. It's at Allegheny Mariner.
Mariner.
Yeah,
Where's that at?
in Allegheny. I don't know where the fuck.
Is that like above Pittsburgh? I don't even know where that is.
Me either. I'm not too. It's in Contanning.
Okay.
It's like right off
I
a
think
river.
I know where that is.
Huh?
I think I know where that is.
It's like apparently it's right off a river. I might bring my camera. My friend, she's singing. She's really good. But I just enjoy live music.
I love music. I actually have zero musical talents, but I love music more than photography. People don't know that about me very much because I don't have, any musical talents, so nobody ever sees that. But music is my favorite, and if I could be anything, it would definitely be like a Paramore, Haley.
I
I would totally like
love
rock. I'd
Paramore.
rock in a band. That was my dream growing up, to be in a band.
You look like you can sing.
I can't. I wish. I pretend like I can. I have zero guts to ever do like karaoke, but if I got drunk enough, I'd probably do some emo karaoke, not Paramore, because her voice is hard, but I would try. I do it in my car very well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I want to hear a live Ashley Munson concert.
absolutely not. I actually have a guitar. I've had a guitar since I was in high school, and my guitar is the guitar in my senior photos, and I've never learned to play.
I have a guitar.
I was when I had it as a prop in my senior photos. I use it as inspiration to get to the point of being able to teach myself and learn. And I think I took lessons for 3 months. Can't do it. Too hard. I gave up.
I think you could sing. Singers have like, I feel like to be successful as a singer, you have to like, looks is a part of it. You have to have the look of a singer, you know? You can't
Yeah,
explain it, but some girls just look like they can sing.
I can't, and I don't. I have zero athletic capabilities either. So that's why I'm an expert in photo because it's all I'm good at.
But you're really good at it, so that's all that matters.
Well, thank you. I could ask you a billion questions, so I'll let you get back to your flow.
Rewind what we were talking about. Okay, we were talking about how you started. So where did you grow up? You said you grew up in a small town.
So you're from Clarion?
No, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, interesting. So then you may never even heard of it. Sharon, PA.
I've heard of it.
It's very tiny, and
I've
it's
heard of
about. Right now, I'm actually living in Warren, Ohio,
it.
but I'm pretty much split smack dab in the middle of Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Like both are just an hour on the freeway kind of highway drive. So super small. I mean, my graduating class was like 250, so that's probably not small to a lot of people, but
Yeah.
I literally my whole town is essentially like one main road that turns into a different city. So not very big. For a little while there, I lived on the same road that I was born. Like the hospital was on the same road, and I worked on the same road. So I didn't like that. I was like, I better like spread my wings and get out of here a little bit. So I went 20 miles away into Warren, Ohio.
Where did you work before you started photography?
I've done it all. I've done it all. The biggest thing that I did, like the majority of my non-professional life, was I served and bartended.
Okay.
I worked at a grocery store. I worked at Subway. I've worked at McDonald's. I've worked in insurance. That was the hardest thing I've ever done. A couple other things here and there. Like I was in retail for a small period of time, but I knew very early on, since I obviously wanted to be in a band. After the band dream didn't happen, my goal in middle school was to be a Disney Channel star.
Okay.
So I never wanted the 9 to 5. Like that was never something that I could deal with. And I knew at 15 that that was never going to be my life. So serving gave me a little bit of that freedom of, yeah, you work weekends, yeah, you work nights, but it's fast paced. The time goes by super fast. I get if I want to be social, with bartending, it was fun to talk to people, and I don't know, just like kept me busy. When I was a grocery store like scanner clerk thing, whatever, the clock would always be right beside me and the minutes would drag. And then you get like a 3-minute restroom break and I'm like, I'm not feeling this lifestyle. So the serving life was what I did. I did it for probably 5 or 6 years before I went full time in photography.
Yeah, those jobs were killing me. That's why I got into like the car business isn't really 9 to 5, I guess. Not really. It's different because you got to work past 9 to 5 to get the people to come in. Before this, I was at a beer distributor actually.
Oh, nice. So you've always been in sales.
Kinda, I guess.
I
Before
couldn't do
that,
it.
before that, I worked at like this factory which sucked building homes. I've done it all, just like you. I've done so many different things. But yeah, this
Well
car,
rounded,
yeah, this car sales job, it doesn't even feel like you're working because you're talking to people, you're walking around, you don't have to be at your desk all day unless you bring them inside, but you're just walking around, especially in the summer. You just walk around outside and talk to people. If I'm not talking to
That's
people,
honestly, yeah, that's how I feel about photography. I mean, there's that saying, and it goes, I don't know specifically, where entrepreneurs and business owners would rather work 80 hours for themselves than 40 hours for somebody else type of thing.
mhm.
And I feel like I work 120 hours a week. Like I just constantly have like a massive to-do list, but at the end of the day, like I love it so much and I'm so grateful for it that it really doesn't feel like I'm working. I actually was talking to somebody about this a few weeks ago and I almost have that dreadful feeling of I feel like I should be doing something else. Like I'm doing something wrong because I'm not answering to somebody else. I'm not having to like clock in, for a job 99% of the time, minus like a wedding day or an engagement shoot.
Mhm.
And for a while there, it was really hard to adjust to, being somebody who worked for yourself because you don't have that accountability of literally having somewhere to be. And I'm not the only person that has experienced or felt that. I don't know how to exactly like describe it, but it's something that I feel a lot of people who transition out of the corporate world into working for themselves kind of feel, because you really don't have anybody to answer to, for the most part, you have to obviously work with your clients and get them their photos and stuff. But a lot of my clients are my friends, they turn into way more than just, client. So I love it.
Actually, I feel like I'm actually talking to like a celebrity because I've been following you for so long and I've never talked to you. So it's like it's crazy to see you. You've changed your hair a lot too, so it was like,
I do.
why do you do
I
that?
but
Why do
thank you.
No, yeah, it's like I'm like I don't know. It just feels like when you follow someone who like I don't pay attention too much to the followers, but you're just big. You have a lot of followers, but I just know that you're big in the community, so appreciate.
I feel like I have a long way to go, but I appreciate you.
You should always feel like you have a long way to go, right?
You're right. Actually, another thing that I've heard is because like I get scared to go to photo shoots, 5 years later after working, hundreds and hundreds of shoots, I still get nervous and weddings too. Not like I used to. I used to never be able to sleep, but somebody told me like the minute that you stop, worrying or being afraid to do a bad job is the minute that you need to find something else because you're too comfortable in that position and you're no longer going to grow in it if it's just something that you feel you can do without, you know, any worry of messing it up. So I kind of feed into, the worry and I have no problem or I mean I fear a little bit, but Making mistakes, to me, I look at it in a completely different way than I used to. And now I take all of the mistakes that I make and I turn them into lessons. So I'm not afraid to make them. I don't want to say I want to make them. But every time I make a mistake, you know, I try very hard not to do it again. And so, I mean, we're people, you know, we're 20 somethings, we drink and, you know, we like to party too, just because we can't, I personally don't, you know, at weddings and stuff, drink and dance and everything. But at the end of the day, like, we're just like our clients. So, I don't know. I try to be relatable in that aspect.
You can be very relatable, and you can be like sort of an inspiration to people who want to do what you do. Because some people, like, they have to be working and do photography because they're not at your point yet, right? They have to work their way there, and you went through what they went through, so you could sit down and talk to a lot of young photographers, or even photographers your age who aren't there yet.
Yeah, like
Like, very
my
important.
best friend my best friend's kind of similar, I feel, to what you had said to me, where she said that she had been following me since the beginning. She, I think, was one of my first followers and, you know, was there for my first posts and stuff. And we didn't meet until 2019. So she had been watching my growth and seeing, you know, how my work just got better or changed or what have you. And then she responded to an ad I had done on Honeybook for a second photographer. And we ended up shooting that wedding together. And then after that, my cats are wrestling. After that specific like time, you know, we went our separate ways and everything. And then over the course of like the next 4 months, we met in October of 2019. We started to work together a little bit more, and then like we became like friends. And then over COVID, we really got close because I had a wedding in Key West, Florida, and she came and helped me. And it was during that week that lockdown happened. And so we were like, well, we've been together, you know, for the last week in Florida, so let's just stick together during this whole lockdown. And we kind of spent like the next 3 months together just creating and kind of having fun and making content for ourselves and stuff. But she told me whenever she first met me that she, you know, would specifically talk about certain photos that I had posted because that's how long she had been following me. And I was like, that's so cool.
Do you see that a lot? Like a lot of people who like kind of fanboy over you, and is it cool to see? Like not that specific word, but you know, people who see. There's a lot of people who say they're fans of you. I know.
One cool thing that happened to me was, so I'm in this Instagram group where it's just, I want to say like 15 or 20 people that are all like super supportive of each other, just kind of talk in this group. It's just a group message. And I joined in, honestly, I want to say November of last year. And I'm not active at all. I'm just so overwhelmingly busy with everything going on in my life that group messages and even like friends that text me, it's hard for me to keep up with. I just feel like I am way better communicator in real life, or I
Yeah.
like to talk on the phone. But I would talk here and there, you know what I mean? Like, so everybody, I feel eventually like we had conversated and stuff, and I think I followed everybody and everything. And I went to a wedding for the first time in a really long time this past March in Myrtle Beach, of all places, not even local. And I was down there with my friend, and we were in line for the dinner. And the photographer was really eyeing me up. I'm like, what? Why are you looking at me? You know, like what's going on here? And my head was shaved, and I feel like because I had like a shaved head, like it's a little bit more easy to spot me out. I feel if you know have seen me on social media. And she looks at me and I'm like making eye contact with her, trying not to because I'm introvert. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And she's like, are you Ashley? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh my gosh. And I was like, Crystal? And she was like, yeah. And like, she recognized me like thousands of miles away, like multiple states away, just from being in that group and stuff. And so that was really cool. I thought that was like really cool. That was probably my, like, I felt like a little bit of a celebrity moment just because somebody recognized me from out of state.
Right.
But that was a cool moment. Oh, actually, I have a second cool moment. I'm gonna we're gonna lose the humbleness for a second.
Do it.
I posted this on my Facebook a few weeks ago. So this is before I dyed my hair blonde, and I was out to dinner with my friend Jasmine, my best friend that I was telling you about like 5 minutes ago. We went out to dinner at Texas Roadhouse, and we had ordered our food, and it was the server that obviously like took our food, took our drink order. Well, a different girl came out and brought our salads. I asked her for something, I think A1, and our server comes back and she's like, I don't know who you are, but the food runner in the back is like raving over the fact that she just met you. Apparently, like she follows you on Instagram. And I'm like, oh my gosh, tell her to come back out here. She's like, she's terrified. And so she came back out and she was like, I didn't mean to like, make it a deal. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no. Like it was so cool. Like I gave her a hug and like we took a photo and stuff. And she was like, I've been following you for a long time. She's like, whenever I get engaged, like, you're my photographer. And I thought that was funny. And Jasmine was just like over here, like, I roll. It was fun.
Well, that's good because you earned that. You worked
It
hard.
was really cool.
I'm glad that
But
happens to you.
yeah. So like little things here and there. It doesn't happen like all the time.
Yeah. Well,
But
what was your decision to shave your head?
so I'm from a big family. I have 8 siblings, and two of my sisters over the like course of I don't know, I want to say like the last 2 or 3 years shaved their heads. My family is very unconventional. Like we are the complete opposite of like a traditional family. Like we are all a little bit crazy, like my one sister has blue hair, like I have like a ton of tattoos, like my other sister, like we're all just very unique, I would say, in our own ways. And so it wasn't like a big shock factor to my family for my sisters to shave their heads. And my one sister, she shaved her head I think 2 or 3 times, I think 3 times. And the second time that she shaved her head, her hair grew back so curly and thick. And so I'm probably the most, what's the word? Uppity of my family. Like, I don't think I am, you know what I mean? But they would consider me to be like the most snobby, I guess, of everybody. And so my family was like, there's no way you're going to shave your head. They were like, you will not do it. Because I had really long hair. I had really, really long hair.
Yeah.
And I had hair extensions. And I had paid lots of money for my hair extensions every month, essentially. And it just became to be so overbearingly like hard to do all that. So my sister had just shaved her head for the 3rd time. And I was like, do you think my hair will grow back thicker? And they were like, we don't know. And so I took the like razor, or what is that thing called that you shave your head or you shave with? I don't know, the razor thingy, like the one from the Grinch. Okay. And I took it and I literally put it through the middle of my head to the point where I couldn't go back.
Oh my.
And then my sister just did the whole entire thing. And no, my hair did not grow back thicker.
Is it the same as it was?
Yes. So that's why it's blonde. I had a few people yell at me. They were like, why would you like bleach your head whenever you shaved it for it to grow back thick and healthy? And I was like, because it's not growing back thick. So I was like, I got bored and I decided to change up the color. But yeah, it was a bold move. I didn't regret it. I never like got upset or cried over it or anything like that. But there was a little bit of a time where I lost a lot of confidence. And so that was a bit of a struggle. And then as soon as my hair kind of came back to a length where I felt like I could maybe like do it a little bit, I was fine. But there was like a month and a half, I want to say around like November, December, where I was a little bit bummed because like I got bored and I just didn't feel as confident as I normally felt. So, but I don't have regrets at all about it. I think it was cool. A lot of people reached out and like they felt that it was super relatable, like something that they wouldn't necessarily do, but that they've always wanted to do, which is super funny to me because like I never had the desire to do it. It was very random. Like I know people that have, told me in on Instagram messaging or, on Facebook from seeing my post. They were like, I wanted to do this for a really long time, but I've never been bold enough. And I didn't sit on it for a while. It was just something I think I decided on a Tuesday and did it by Thursday. So
That's funny. That's exactly how I am. I have to make my decisions. Like a big decision, I have to do it quick.
yeah, like just a stupid example, but I could want a pair of shoes. Okay, like a pair of shoes intrigued me, okay? And I could go months with not caring about these pairs of shoes. And then one day I'll wake up and I'll be like, I have to have those right now. Like I have to have them right now. Or a tattoo. Like I went years without getting more tattoos. And then one day I woke up and I was like, I got to finish my sleeve. I have to do it. I have to figure it out right now. I have to set
Yeah.
up all the appointments. And that's kind of like how I make my big decisions. Those are my less planned out moments and my more spontaneous kind of things that I do.
Yeah, I scheduled a tattoo appointment for next week. I'm getting 2. I was like, fuck it, why not?
Ooh, yeah, I'm almost completed. I just need,
I love your tattoos. Yeah, show me.
oh, thank you. I just need right here. Well, my arm don't bend that way. Right there, and then right there needs to be done, and then my whole arm will be done.
Your tattoos
I
are
might
so.
do a hand tattoo. I haven't decided yet.
I want a hand tattoo so bad.
I have finger tattoos. I just got them.
I saw those. They're awesome. I
They're
want,
not healing the best.
I want one like right here.
Yeah, I got this is my favorite finger tattoo that I got. My little lightning bolt.
Why do you get it?
I don't know. Probably because it's trending. If I'm being completely honest with you.
Nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. I like lightning bolts. I have for a little while, probably because social media told me that they were cool. Have you ever seen Josie and the Pussycats?
No.
Okay, the subliminal messaging that they put in the movie, where they put this stuff like this talking underneath the music, and people will be like, oh my gosh, I really need McDonald's right now, because subliminally, it is telling them that they need that. I 1000% believe that that's true. And I also believe that the West Coast is in the future, because they seem to always be ahead of us, like with the trends and everything. Like they know things are so much cooler before like I feel I do.
Well, aren't more famous people in the West Coast, and like, don't trends come from famous people?
Maybe, but they're also like literally like no, they're behind us in terms of the time, I think. Yeah. So okay.
Technically, but like when it comes to them posting on social media, I feel like we're just following, mainly because of California. They're all
Yeah.
there, and we're just like following behind them. So yeah, I mean, I guess they would be ahead.
Yeah. But I think that they're literally ahead, like in the future, like months ahead, and we just don't know it. That's my theory.
Why do you think that?
Because everybody out there is just so damn good. I think that it's a lot more of an open-minded culture though too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like here I feel is a little bit more traditional in the sense of the photographs that people want us to capture, whereas like out there it's more of like emotion and like the feeling that you get from the photos. When I photograph stuff out west, I feel as though photos that I would have thought were trash are actually like the most successful and beautiful moments to people who live out there. I was talking to my best friend Jasmine about this. There's this photographer who lives out west. Her name is Lorkin Kendall. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
She's amazing. She's amazing. And I'm like obsessed a little bit with this one wedding she did a few years ago. It's in Mexico. It was a wedding that they had done in Mexico City or somewhere down in Mexico. And I showed it to my friend Jasmine. I sent her the link and stuff, and we were on the phone talking about it, and she was like, the photos that she showcases are photos that I would have thought were like failures, and I never would have like posted at all. And from her saying that, she said that about 3-4 months ago, I've started posting more things on my social media that I like, even if I don't know if people that want to hire me necessarily would, because that's like another goal of mine in the future, is that I want to photograph more things that I want to photograph, and not so much what the wedding industry tells us is what we have to capture because it's standard.
Yeah, you think it's more of like people just have this sort of expectation for photographers, and maybe people in the West don't really have an expectation. They just want to have fun, and then whatever you have, you have.
Yeah, I just feel like it's super open-minded out there, you know, like get your dress dirty, get your feet dirty, like, you know, go in the ocean, lay in the grass, like, and maybe this is an assumption that I'm making prematurely, but, and I should do my own research to, you know, figure it out a little bit more, but I just feel I don't want to force any of my couples to do things that I don't think that they'd want to do for my own, you know, portfolio. And so I just feel, you know, most brides don't want their dress to get dirty. They're not going to go lay in the grass after it rained yesterday, type of thing, you know, whereas I feel um, some of the models that I've met out west that aren't literally getting married, you know what I mean? It's just like for a fun shoot. So of course there's a lot more of a lower expectation with like hair and makeup and everything getting messed up. But I just feel they're willing to go a little bit, you know, further and push the envelope. And yeah, some of those photos might start out as somebody's idea and a styled shoot, but eventually that becomes real, you know. There are couples that are like, we want to do this, we want to jump in the pool, we want to, you know, get our dress dirty, and those are the people that I want to eventually start reaching.
Sounds like you want to move out west tomorrow.
Oh, haven't you seen where I've gone the last 4 months? That's like,
Yeah.
honestly, that is like a goal of mine. I mean, I don't think I ever technically will because I love my family way too much. And I've traveled out west, I want to say at least a dozen times since January. And it's a hard flight. Like you lose 12 hours every single time you either fly there or fly back here. Not literally 12 hours because like the time change, but if I'm getting on a plane at 8 a.m., I'm technically not like going to be able to start functioning, you know, until 8 p.m. and vice versa because there's usually a layover.
Yeah.
And just like especially traveling from there to here because you lose that time, so it becomes a very long day, and I don't know if I could do that as often as I would want to visit my family.
Oh, I understand. So you wouldn't want to move out there.
I want to. The desire is 1000% there, but practically, probably not because I love my family so much. I don't know if I would be able to make that constant, you know, travel work.
You think your happiness here will overwhelms their happiness of wanting to go out west.
So my one friend, he's very intelligent and I love him dearly. He says he like put things into perspective for me over the winter. Um, it's not about places for him, you know, like places aren't the things that make him happy, it's people.
Right.
And so, yeah, I could be living in paradise out west, but if I'm all alone and I feel like super lonely and everybody that I know is back here, even though it might be dead of winter and miserable and everybody has seasonal depression, I would rather be a part of that than be, you know, living it up in San Francisco by myself.
Yeah, that's how I feel sometimes. You have to put your mental health first. People make that mistake a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I
Especially
made
being an entrepreneur.
yeah. I made that mistake in 2019. So I came to Clary in 2015. 2019 I moved back to Baltimore and I'm working with professional boxers in photography. Right? Because I knew people there. But like that was the most mentally unhealthy I've ever been. Because
Really?
I was in this household where it just wasn't a good place for me, and I could be in I could be in Vegas right now with. Do you know Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working with his team, so
Oh,
but,
wow.
but I was so mentally unhealthy. It just wasn't for me. I was like,
And like, it's really, really bold and strong of you to recognize that, you know, because a lot of people either they might not realize, oh, like I'm unhappy, or they might still keep themselves in that situation because you know their success is more important or the people, you know, the connections and stuff. So yeah, for me at the end of the day, yeah, I'd love to go out west and have my portfolio constantly be like beautiful western landscapes and oceans and mountains, but my family's here.
yeah, and yeah, that's how I felt. It just wasn't for me, and I
Hey,
know.
you tried it, you know.
Yeah, I went backwards too. Like I felt like I wasn't I was no longer getting better at photography. I was too content because everybody else
Yeah,
liked the photos and I wasn't getting. I wanted progression. I don't really know what I want out of photography right now. I'm just kind of selling
that's okay
cars,
though.
taking pictures.
Honestly, like experiment, that's the beauty of photography and being a business owner. You make your own rules.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. And like right now, I'm like, because I can do my photography, and like when you're selling cars, you basically work for yourself. Yeah, you have a boss, but you're working for yourself. So like I kind of feel like I'm constantly working for myself, and I have hours. Or that's one thing I don't like is that I have hours, but that's whatever. I don't see myself doing this forever, but
Well, to be fair, I also technically have hours, but
yeah.
I have to be the one to keep myself accountable to keep up with them. And when I say hours, hours is editing. Like I'd love to leave my apartment and just ignore all responsibilities all the time and just photograph people, but way more of the work involved is editing, and the post processing. And it sucks because sometimes I want to go spend time with my family or I want to go hang out with my friends, and I have to choose editing over those things because I'm not holding myself accountable in other, periods of time, to where now I have to like force myself to. So you still have hours, you know what I mean? Like you still want to set specific like schedules and time frames to get things done, because if you don't and you just like are too flexible with things, you'll find yourself a little bit buried.
How much time did you find yourself focusing on editing versus the photography as you noticed you started to get better?
So my editing, if you go back and look through my Instagram, is something that has changed, and not always for the better. I feel like I kind of like fluctuate between, okay, this is good, and last summer I was hecka struggling, and I don't look at those. Don't look at those photos. Um, but I feel people have asked me, like clients have asked me, and just people in general, what I would consider myself my editing style to be, because the typical answers are editorial and real to life, or light and airy, or dark and moody, and I feel like I'm kind of none of those. I feel like I fall into more moody and colorful, if anything. And I also think that I edit for the season. So I know certain photographers that can edit every single photo they take, whether it's inside, outside, a baby, a dog, a couple, to match their portfolio exquisitely. I can't do that. And I also don't strive to do that, because I can't make, winter browns look like summer greens. And so throughout the year, my editing style will kind of change and adjust according to the lighting situation. And it took me a while to be okay with that, because a big part of your photography brand is, the way that you edit. And most of the time people have a specific style that they stick to and don't really stray from. So for me to have four different like styles within like a bigger, everything's all one preset. I just edit it different for the specific time of year and lighting situation. I felt like I was failing, because I couldn't get the photos to match. And it was Jasmine who literally was like, or maybe it was my cousin too. I think both of them, because they're both super big supporters of me too. I think they were like, well, if that's not something you see in the world, be the first to be bold enough and confident enough to do it for yourself. And that was, I think, like last year. And so um, it took me a little while to find my style. But I will say, if you've seen like photographers who will show when they started photo versus a now photo, my first two weddings I ever did were actually pretty good. But over like the years, I feel there will be certain periods of time, even 4 years in, where I feel like I failed at that specific shoot, or I'm struggling to edit in this specific season of my life. And so it's, again, a constant learning experience, and giving yourself grace in, certain times when things aren't exactly looking the way that you want it to. And so I wouldn't say that my success is a straight line. You know, I feel like I go backwards and then I go forwards again and I go backwards. And I feel like maybe a lot of people don't think about things like that or experience it, their success in that way. But that's just kind of how my business has been. And so there will be moments where I feel that my work sucks in the future, you know, and then there will be moments where I'm like, I killed that shoot. And I just feel it comes with being, you know, your biggest critic too, and thinking that you could do better or that somebody else could have done that better and all that stuff. So yeah, I feel like my whole timeline with editing has fluctuated with, okay, in this moment I like it and I'm pretty confident in it, and then, you know, on a very sunny day when I can't really have full control of the setting, in terms of where my couple is, or, you know, wedding party and stuff, because it's just not working with me. I feel like I didn't do as well for that specific shoot. I also used to really like cloudy days and be terrified of the sun. And over the last couple of years, I absolutely hate cloudy days and I would prefer the sun.
Really? That's the
Yeah,
opposite of most people.
I know. It's crazy. It's interesting. That's why photography is awesome, and, you know, get all the advice that you can. But also do yourself a favor, and this is with everything in life, but make your own opinion, you know? Don't just take what everybody else says and say, oh, well, I'm going to do that too. Like, experiment and, you know, go out there and actually experience and make your own final call of what you like.
Yeah, I've in the past I've noticed myself playing the comparison game, and it's so unhealthy for you. Where you're
It's
comparing
very
to
bad.
photographers, and like maybe yeah, maybe there are photographers who are better than you, but you can get better at your style and keep improving. Just because they're better than you doesn't mean you have to be like them.
Here's another thing I always tell myself. Over the last year and a half, I've kind of shifted my mindset. I think mindset is huge, important aspect in your entire life. Anybody can do what I do. It is not hard, you know, like anybody can learn in a few months how to use the camera, figure out what preset I use, and figure it out. For me, it's not about my portfolio, but about the experience that I can give my clients and the relationship that I build. And that's something that nobody else can mimic
Hmm.
to a complete, like, you know, copycat, mocking, whatever you want to call it thing. So I love my portfolio, especially, like, you know, the way that my Instagram has been looking since I've been traveling. But at the end of the day, it's not as important as, you know, the client experience and, um, you know, the memories that you kind of create with your clients along the way. One of the biggest compliments that I could ever get, and I'm not like picking on any specific, you know, group of people, but typically guys don't love their photo being taken. And so when a guy, you know, if it's a bride and groom, or, you know, a girl and a guy couple, when they're like, wow, that actually wasn't so bad, or I had fun, that is probably like the most, like, humble feeling that I can get, or compliment that I can receive, because a lot of the time you can kind of tell with their body language or on their face that this is not how they want to be spending their evening.
Yeah.
And so whether it's from them themselves or from their, you know, significant other, like sending me a text or a message like later saying that so and so actually had fun, then I feel like I did a good job, regardless of how the photos turn out, you know.
Yeah, because no one can copy that, your relationships. And even though, I mean, yeah, you are good, right? So you can sell maybe a beginner photographer that people are going to want to hire you for you, not just your pictures. Yeah, they want your
Yeah.
pictures, but if they like you, they're going to want you, I
I
think.
think that that is something too that you can continue to build on whenever you start charging, um, you know, different brackets of pricing and stuff. I feel, again, anybody can take photos, and some people might argue, why are you paying, or why are you charging X amount of money for photos? And again, it's the experience. that I give my clients. It's the experience that I've gained over the last, 5+ years. It's the knowledge, and just being a professional and knowing how to adapt in different situations. And it's so much more. And it's such a cliche thing to say because it's literally written all over the internet, but it is so much more than, just taking a photo. Your 6, 8, or 10-hour wedding day divided by whatever you charge for that might look like hundreds of dollars an hour, but that's the only thing that they're thinking that they're paying for is the physical, like, being at a wedding day. But there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes than people realize. And so what I've been trying to do over the last year or two is educate people and help, non-photographers or creatives understand that it's so much more than, just showing up one day. That price is broken down in so many hours that they don't see, doing post-processing and behind the scenes and all that stuff.
I feel like that's where YouTube will help people like you who do, right? You obviously spend hours. That's why you are who you are, because you spend hours doing what you do. And YouTube will help explain that and help see you more personally, I think.
That's why I'm super obnoxious on my Instagram stories.
No, yeah, you do it. That's why I say I see you talking on your Instagram stories, and you'd be so good on YouTube. And then YouTube will eventually monetize you, and you're gonna get monetized because you're Ashley.
Well, I will take the videos. There's going to be 1,000 bloopers, and you can go in and cut and edit for me.
I'll do that.
Even though that's what I went to school for, I still don't want to do
it. I'll do it for you. I'm a fan, Ashley. I feel like you're already big. I feel like you can be huge, and you can help a lot of people.
I mean, I know it sounds, what's the opposite of humble? What's the word?
Cocky.
Hey, Google, what's the opposite of humble?
On the website Merriam-Webster.com, they say egotistic, bastard, highfalutin.
Highfalutin? I feel like it could sound like egotistical, but I do want to be like a well-known name in the photography industry. Like, give me an example of somebody who's really big that you know.
In what industry?
Photography.
Photography? Well, you probably know Peter McKinnon. He's more videography.
Yeah.
He's more videography, but him and Taylor Jackson, big name. No.
You know, like India Earl?
No.
See, I guess it's subjective, because who I think is big and really cool and I would fangirl over in the photography industry, my grandma would never know who that is.
Well, I don't really follow the photography industry unless they're local. I follow sports. That's what I follow. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just kind of do photography. I feel I have to get more involved in photography. That's why I started to ask photographers to be on my podcast, because I'm not involved in the industry, and it's it's not on purpose. It's just, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, you got to do it.
Yeah.
One thing that I've learned over the years is you can't force anybody to want to be a part of this industry. I know for myself personally and some friends of mine, who are single or not married, those husband and wife duos, they seem like exactly what we want. Somebody who does the video part of your business, or you guys work together, and that is goals. But at the end of the day, if you're with somebody who's analytical or who is, not a creative, or, is more of the business side of things or numbers, you can't force them to want to do this. Yeah. I've tried, and if you don't have a passion from within first, it's just not something. I feel it's very rare to bring somebody who had zero interest into this industry and them succeed really well, because my business is like a part of me. It's who I am. It's what I see as beauty in the world. And you have to see that in a specific way. You have to, look at the look at the world with that specific part of your brain and be able to see how light falls throughout the day. And I've talked with a bunch of my photographer friends who, you know, have husbands that do other things that have nothing to do with their job. And we can go out and take photos and see the sun and be like, oh, this is fantastic. We could go take photos right here and it'd be beautiful. And their husbands would never see that and think like, that's a really good like moment for a photo, or that abandoned building, it would be so cool for an urban photo shoot, you know? So you first and foremost have to want and desire to do something creative, you know, whether it's photography or videography. And as long as you have that, everything else can fall into place and you can learn. But you can't learn to be passionate about something that you don't just naturally have. Like, I would never want to be a mechanical engineer. I would never want to, you know, write a book. So if I had to do those things, I'd be miserable and I would, you know, want to quit and stuff. But with my job, working a million hours and dealing with like thousands of people that I've, you know, met and stuff, again, it's not work. It's a passion of mine that I absolutely love to be a part of. And my sisters, I love them to death, but I don't think that they could be in my shoes for a week and things, you know, continue to still flow in my business, you know? Like, I feel you have to have a specific and certain kind of outlook and be creative and stuff to make it work.
Do you think about that when it comes to your friendships? So, like, say you obviously want to surround yourself not just with photographers, but with people with the mindset that they love what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be like, when I served, I used to be a very negative person and I hated life. And I was emo in high school. I was bullied in middle school. I was, you know, that's why I'm a creative. You know, I love music and it saved my life. And I never wanted to do the 9 to 5. So it doesn't matter what my friends do, but when they love what they do and like their mindset is like humbling or grateful or, you know, just happy with where they're at, none of us, you know, have too much to really complain about. Yeah, like everybody has problems, but I was a miserable person when I was, you know, serving and working those other jobs, and I hated everything. And so I do prefer to surround myself with, you know, people who love what they do or are trying to get into the industry. It's just the conversations flow naturally. Like, we have similar mindsets. I have friends from high school I've never left the state with, but people I'll meet randomly once and they'll invite me to their house in California, Oregon, Florida, you know, people that will travel outside of the country, and they find value in investing in their business on their own dollar and going and creating content that some of my other friends who again have those more corporate jobs would never like want to do. You know, I would go and travel for 24 hours anywhere in the US. I know people that would never find that to be worthy of their time if they weren't going for a whole week, you know? And so I have friends who don't love what they do, who don't love their job. And we're still friends, you know? I just can't relate to them as well as people who are photographers or creatives, or I get along really well with people who are involved in music and stuff like that. I wouldn't count anybody out. Like, we can, you know, obviously be friends for many different reasons that have nothing to do with photography, but I do seem to just naturally be surrounded by people in the industry, and the majority of my friends are photographers.
Well, that's good because you're surrounding yourself with people who want to be better, and that's going to make you want to be better.
Yeah, we're inspiring each other. We're, you know, throwing ideas out at each other. And I guess it's not so much people that aren't in the industry that I wouldn't say I'm not friends with. It's more so the people that are in the industry and are not ones who want to do like the whole community over competition thing. like the ones that are more secretive, or, you know, all of my friends are my competition, literally. Like, we're all photographers. You can choose anybody else over me, you know, at the end of the day.
You remember when COVID first started, right? And they
No,
did
I don't.
the whole FaceTime photo shoot thing, right?
Yeah, I
I
did one of those.
Yeah, I didn't get it, right. And this girl, I'm not gonna say her name, but she's from Pittsburgh, and she was doing the FaceTime photo shoots. She did a bunch, right? So I swipe up and I go, "Hey, I see you've been doing them. I've been curious. What is it?" And she replies, "LOL, Google it." I was like, "What?" I didn't
Wow.
reply, but in my head, I was like, "What the fuck? Like, why?"
Yeah, see, that's where I feel the photography mindset was when I first started. I feel like people didn't want to share locations. They didn't want to share like their secrets. Like, they didn't want to help anybody else, you know, excel or grow at all. Whereas now I feel, again, with the people that I'm surrounding myself with, we're all so eager to help each other. You know, I want everybody to live out their dreams and be full-time photographers.
Yeah,
There are billions of people in the world. I cannot take more than 52 weddings a year, and I don't even want to do, like, because of the Saturdays,
mhm.
but realistically 30. You know what I mean? So why not help everybody else out?
Yeah.
That
Also, I am careful because you got to realize that people's time is valuable, right? So you don't want to take their time away, but I feel like well, you shouldn't be rude to people, right? Like I
Yeah, I
wouldn't.
mean, if you actually put in time and effort and a lot of work into, say, finding a really cool location that nobody knows about, that I can understand not wanting to give away, because, you know, not to be a jerk, but humans do ruin everything. You know, like, nature gets destroyed because people get careless, especially, you know, not photographers necessarily, but bringing clients, and then those clients end up, you know, bringing friends and family, and things get ruined. Graffiti is in all kinds of places that
Right.
you know, what was once like super beautiful. And I'm part of the problem too. Natural Bridges in Oregon. Okay, have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay, so it's this beautiful place. You have to check it out. I went twice. It is eventually going to fall. It
Right.
will not be around forever because everybody's walking on it, and, you know, like, they're destroying it, and it's crumbling and stuff. And so I can understand that argument specifically, but everything else can be a friendly conversation. If somebody, you know, really has a lot of questions, offer them a mentor session. From a more successful photographer's perspective, you know, I can understand wanting your time to be valued and not having time to answer every single question that somebody has, you
Yeah.
know, to ask. But then from the, you know, more amateur photography aspect, you also have to respect, you know, photographers who put in the time and work. And
Mhm.
if you really value them, just be willing to invest, you know, and don't, what's the word? Offend, you know, don't be offended, and, you know, stuff like that. I love Lorcan Kendall, and I would absolutely pay the amount of money that she would charge to mentor me, because she has a ton of stuff that I feel would hella help my business and be of value. I would never reach out and be like, oh, you know, answer all these questions for me and waste, you know, your day. She has kids and, you know, stuff like that. So I see the value in her. But like my best friend, you know, I would never tell her that she can't ask me questions and that we have to sit down for coffee and she has to pay me by the hour. So I think it's one of those things where you kind of have to take the situation and use your best judgment in it. But I mean, I've offered, or I do offer mentor sessions, but I've had people who I've mentored and stuff, and when you see people willing to invest in you, you are more appreciative, you know, and more inclined to really like see that and appreciate and respect that, hey, that person actually like values my opinion so much that they do want to have a mentor session with me. And we notice that. And we also notice when there's photographers who don't engage with our work, who aren't literally like supporting us, and who ask us all kinds of questions in, you know, the Instagram DMs and stuff. And you can clearly see that it's not the same kind of relationship.
Yeah, that's what I meant by time. Like I would, right? Currently I'm not pursuing photography full time, right? So I would never ask you to just sit down and edit with me, but like I'd want to buy you a beer because obviously you have an amazing mindset and you push yourself, and I want to learn that. So I'd
I
be
do
like,
remember you saying that. You said that like a year ago.
yeah, like I just literally like I would never want to, right? Because I'm not pursuing photography full time, so why would I want, unless I'm paying you, I wouldn't want you to just sit down and just edit with me, right? I would be like, I'm like, hey, I want to buy you a beer and just like get to know you, like what goes through your head, what makes you push yourself, because I'm interested in that. Even
And I feel like that is something that you can do and not come across like you're trying to use them and, you know, waste their time. Like if you were like, hey, let me buy you a beer, and then you came with a whole binder of questions, clearly, you
right,
know, this wrong kind of meetup. And there are ways to go about it where it comes across as friendly and not overbearing, or you're trying to use them, you know, for their secrets and all that stuff. It's probably starting to become more of an old phrase, but the whole like, I want to pick your brain thing that people say, it can come across annoying. You know what I mean? Because
right.
it's like, no, like I've put thousands of hours and invested thousands of dollars into this brain. So when people say that, it does can be a little bit, you know, annoying to be asked that. It's like, approach me and, you know, have a conversation with me and get to know me and support me first. You know what I mean? And don't be so freaking pushy and just open about, hey, like I want to know your business secrets type of thing.
Yeah,
Because when I
like
do sessions with people, I'm an open freaking book. You know what I mean? But they value me, they invested in me, and so they kind of like get that treatment a little bit, you know, more.
yeah, I sit down before my podcast. I don't like to think too much because I want it to be an interview, but I think I'm like, I'm not gonna ask you too much about your photography and your business because I know you do mentor sessions. You can't just give this stuff out for free. This is just me going to get to know you because you obviously have a strong mental, and that's important.
Yeah, there are definitely like ways to, you know, just have a conversation with a photographer who is full time or, you know, successful and stuff. And then there is the way to come across like, okay, this is an interview,
Yeah,
and um what's the word? Not copyright, plagiarism. That's the word. So it's like you can come across where you're genuine versus, okay, this is hecka fake. I don't even know you. You're asking me all these questions and you don't even follow me type of thing. You can kind of like pick those different personalities out. And if you really want to, you know, ask questions, support them first. Build a relationship with them first. Don't have the first thing that you say when you've never, you know, talked, be like, let me pick your brain, or where's this location, or, you know, all this stuff. Most people will, you know, be willing to help anybody in the industry, but there is a way to go about it that isn't disrespectful.
yeah, your time's so valuable, and that's how. When I approached you, I was like, "How should I approach her about being on my podcast?" Because I didn't want to come off as I was trying to use your time. And I was just like, "Hey, I look up to you. I want you to be on my podcast. I want to get to know you."
Yeah,
And it's just
and
the mindset, not
that's
even
perfect.
like photography aside, just your mindset. You have to have a solid mindset to be where you are in photography. I think.
I'll say, like, as a recap, you got to be willing and open-minded to learning and never stopping. Knowledge is so powerful.
Yeah.
You have to be open to criticism, because it is subjective art. What you think might be amazing might not pay the bills, so you have to figure out what is it in this industry that you do want to do. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. There is beauty in that aspect of life, and as long as you're not constantly like repeating them and actually learning from them, I think that there are good lessons to making mistakes, for sure. And don't be an asshole.
It's a good one. No, yeah, I've definitely caught myself making some mistakes in this industry. Like I said, I don't know where I want to be at. I love selling cars. I love what I do right now. So I have ideas of car dealerships. So I want to sell foreign cars. So that's
400?
No, foreign.
Oh, foreign. I was like,
Yeah.
400, is that a lot?
No, I don't have a number, but I have an idea of what I want to do in this industry. I like it. You're basically working for yourself.
No, it's definitely a good skill to have.
I'm trying.
Because I don't think photography, even though you're not working every day, it's exhausting. I'm not going to want to do this when I'm in my 40s. Like, it is a hard, not super physically demanding job, but my mom even like has held my cameras and she's like, these are heavy. So I'll eventually have, wrist problems, maybe have back problems. So having other interests and not putting all of your eggs in one basket forever is very smart. Like, eventually my goal is to have, what's that freaking word? Something income.
Passive income.
Yes. So like I would love
YouTube.
YouTube?
YouTube. I'm telling you, Ashley, you have it. Like, you just record it. You don't need to hire. I don't think you need to hire anyone to edit you are busy, so I guess you could. I don't know, but I'm saying you could do well on YouTube, just recording yourself and just posting vlogs. People would love it.
Okay, listen. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I have a YouTube channel.
Is it you singing punk rock?
Kind of.
No way.
I'm not going to tell you. You have to go find it for yourself, but my 17 and 18-year-old self is out there. I think I have about 15 videos.
I'm going to find it.
Yep. So being a creative and stuff, obviously I feel all of those ideas eventually cross our minds. I wanted to be a Tumblr girl, back when that was a thing.
Yeah.
And YouTube is definitely something that I think there's value in it. I feel it's harder now to grow, obviously, as is any social media platform, but
I feel like YouTube is the one that is still growing. I don't think YouTube's at its peak yet.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think so. That's me. I don't know. I see it and it's growing, and I see it growing. I see all these people starting YouTube channels and they're growing. And
I'm waiting for the day that I blow up on TikTok. It's not happening, but hopefully one day.
My TikTok video today is at like 2,000 views. I made one today.
Wow, that might be more than any I've ever gotten.
It was on the Ford Mustang. It was a convertible. The top was down, and I go up to it, and it's like locked, but the top's down. I'm like, should I call a locksmith? I'm like recording it, but the top's down.
Oh my gosh! I'll have to go check it out.
I like to think I'm funny. I'm not funny, actually.
I like to think I'm funny, but not everybody laughs at my jokes either. It's fine.
As long as you laugh at your own.
Exactly. I am probably have to go because I have a wedding tomorrow. So do you have any final questions that you have, or anything that you want to talk about to wrap it up?
No, I think we can. Ashley, you're an inspiration. You're going to continue to be an inspiration. I appreciate you being humble enough to come on my podcast. I wasn't even expecting.
We're gonna blow up too one day. We're both we're small right now, okay? One day we're both gonna be so big, and people are gonna be like, remember that podcast that they created when they were like little nobodies? Like, and I mean that as in a good way. I'm not saying you're a nobody.
No, I know what you're saying.
But hey, you never know. Like, this could be gold one day, 5 views tomorrow, 5 million in 2024. Who knows?
We'll see. I'm just enjoying getting to know people and interesting people like you, inspirational people. Just keep doing what you're doing, Ashley. I think you're doing great things.
Well, I can send you some names of other people that maybe would be down. You could reach out to them.
We can do that. What are the names?
I can send you like a list on Instagram if you want.
That would be.
I'll have to actually like sit and kind of think about who all I want to like send you and stuff. But yeah.
Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. I wasn't expecting a reply, honestly, but I'm glad you replied.
Oh my gosh, stop it. Of course. I want you to send me the link tomorrow too. I want to watch it.
I will. I'm gonna post it. I'll tag you in the videos and
Okay.
thank you, Ashley. Keep being an inspiration. You're gonna inspire many. Start your YouTube channel tomorrow.
I will, maybe. All right. I will talk to you on the gram.
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.